Welcome to the Life Coach Lounge. I'm Angela.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Emily.
This isn't a podcast for coaches. It's for you, for real people navigating real life. It's lighthearted, it's deep, and it's grounded in faith, friendship, and purpose.
And once a month, you can join us in our virtual Life Coach Lounge on Zoom.
So pull up a seat. The Life Coach Lounge is open.
Welcome back to the Life Coach Lounge, everyone. I am Emily, and I'm here with my friends Lisa and Angela. So today we are going to talk about technology. And I'm wondering if that word even evokes emotion in specific people's minds. Is it like, ooh, technology? No, I don't want to talk about that. Or maybe it's, yeah, I love technology. I can't wait to share all of the tools and tricks that I have for you. Either way, we are going to talk about technology because turns out here in 2026, you cannot get away from it. So just a few reminders before we start. Please join our private Facebook group. That is where we connect with our listeners throughout the week. And we also post our once a month Zoom link where you get to hang out in the virtual lounge with us in real time. Secondly, we all offer one-on-one coaching support. If that is something you're interested in, please check out our show notes or reach out to us however you are able to on social medias, in the comment section of wherever you're listening to the podcast. We would love to connect with you. And then last but not least, please rate and review this podcast if you love it. We can't wait to hear all of the feedback from our listeners. Okay, so let's get this party started here on technology. So just to clarify, when we talk about technology, I wonder if most of us think our phones right away, because that is the little mini computer that most of us carry around with us all day. But technology is really any source of technology. It could be your phone, your computer, your iPad, or it can be the Wi-Fi even in your house, right? Your television. Anything that falls under technology is what we are talking about today. But speaking of phones, I have a question for both of you ladies. Are you the friend who embraces every new app out there? Or are you the one who is still ignoring software updates on your phone? Angela, which category would you fall into? Or is there something in between that describes you better?
I'm not afraid of the updates. I do all the updates whenever there is one. And also, I do not get every app. I mean, I have probably 90% of the apps that I do have on my phone. I don't even know why I have them. I don't use them. I don't know why they're there. So, yeah, no, I have my favorites and that's it. And I always tell myself I'm going to clean up my phone and never take the time to do it. So,
Well, I can kind of relate to that. You might at some point be forced to update all of those apps or figure out which ones need to stay or not. Lately, I have an old iPhone. It still works, so I see no need to upgrade it. And recently there was a software update and I had to offload a whole bunch of apps for there to be enough storage to actually get the update to go on my phone. And then when I went to onboard those apps again, my phone kept saying, "You don't have enough storage. You don't have enough storage." Oh, great. Now what am I going to do? So then I'm in the process of transferring all my pictures over to my computer so that I can go and delete some pictures. But then there's the whole iCloud situation. Anyway, you might someday, unless you're willing to hand out more money for more storage, be forced to, like I am. Lisa, how about you?
I am right in the middle. I'm not afraid to update, but at the same time, I get frustrated when the update has like a default in it and then your settings get kind of screwed up and then you have to go find how to undo what they want you to, in my opinion, be like open to everything. Like, yes, send me feedback, send me all the analytics. Like they want that. And then I have to go back in and be like, no, toggle off, toggle, 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 toggle. I will do the updates, but sometimes I'm apprehensive because I'm like, is this really fixing a bug? Or are you just trying to like, you're already in my algorithms and in my advertisements on my Yahoo page and all the things. Like, how much more information do you really need from me? So I don't know. I'm kind of in between the two. I'm not afraid of doing the update, but at the same time, I'm either frustrated or like you, I have fallen into, okay, well, now it requires more memory on my hard drive of the phone. And I'm not ready for a new phone. I'm not paying for a new phone yet. Built in obsolescence. That's what they got you. They got you.
Just like appliances,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So, if we have a listener that can give us a hack or a trick so that we don't have to deal with what Lisa just said when we have our software updates, if there's a quick way to write all of that again and make our phone remember what we've already decided we do or don't want it to do, please let us know. We would love to hear if there's a trick for that. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how dependent are you on your phone? Lisa?
Is 10 really dependent or one?
10 would be, yes, I can't go anywhere without it. 1 would be, I'm not sure where it is.
I'm probably like an 8. I'm pretty dependent on my phone because, like you said, it is a mini computer. I don't know. Do I need coaching on this? I feel like
No,
that was
no
like the
judgment.
wrong answer that I just said. You're really dependent on my phone.
No, no, no.
Okay.
There
Yeah.
is no judgment here. And you don't even have to explain yourself. An 8
I
is
I'm going to
perfectly
say an
fine.
8 only because it's not a 10 because I have left the house without my phone and turns out life still works out.
Turns out
So,
we lived
yeah,
like probably half of our lives without having a little mini
of
computer to throw
course.
into our purse. And we survived those years, as did our parents, right? Angela, scale of 1 to 10, how dependent are you on your phone?
I would say right now a 6, but I am on a downward trend. I mean, I might have been a 7 or an 8 last year. So if I keep going in the direction I'm going, it might go down even farther. But I would say right now 6.
I would say I'm at about a 5. I have no problem leaving it in another room if I'm at home working on other things. I would almost rather leave it in the other room because then I don't hear or see the notifications come up. But I don't like to leave the home without it, and it is where my calendar is, and of course, not all of my people live under my roof anymore, so I don't wanna miss a call or a text from a loved one.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest reason why, because my husband travels and my kids aren't at home anymore. I have learned to turn off the notifications. I did that probably 2 years ago, like for most things. When I go and check my email, I'll see how many emails I have. I don't need to get a notification every time I get one.
So why do we still call it a phone when it does so many other things? Have you ever wondered that?
Yeah, probably the using it as a phone is probably the least thing that I do with my phone.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very rarely talking on it.
And would you prefer, now that you brought that up, do you prefer a phone call or a text message?
Depends on the person.
I really don't use it to talk on as an actual telephone anymore. It's really text messages or video messages that have already been pre-recorded by somebody. Okay, so as coaches, like how does technology intertwine with coaching? I think it's really important to remember that as coaches, we are trained to notice our thoughts And we want to remember the fact that most things and situations in our lives are actually neutral for the most part. It's our thoughts about those things or situations that then create our feelings. And then those feelings ultimately create our experience of those things or those situations. So I feel like technology definitely fits into this category. Technology is a tool, it is neutral. However, I'm guessing everyone has thoughts about technology, and those thoughts can change depending on how it is serving you or how it might be frustrating you at the time. So, those thoughts create feelings, and then that affects our experience of the technology itself. So, that was a little example of the creation cycle, or like the CBT kind of work that we use in coaching as it relates to this topic today, even technology. So let's dive in a little bit. What do you genuinely love about technology? Lisa, I feel like you are a kind of our techie friend in the Life Coach Lounge, and you do seem to share more about different apps and different things with technology. You're not afraid, I think, to go and discover how to figure out how to make something work. So, what do you genuinely love about technology?
Well, when it's working,
Amen
I
to that.
uh, didn't I just recently send you both a text message or a Marco on? I just spent 2 hours on my website and my own fault. I should have been saving in chunks of time and I only went to save at the end. Guess what it didn't do? So, yes, wanted to throw technology right out the window. But for the most part, to answer your question, I think technology for me is really, I believe, what it's designed for, which is convenience. The fact that you can have an answer to something relatively quickly if you use technology and you're like, jeepers, what was the name of the actor in such and such a movie? I can't remember. We can just take out our, let's not call it a phone anymore, and ask the question, right? So for me, technology typically, it's a tool of convenience.
Love that. Angela?
With what you just said, Lisa, it has me curious if we've lost our ability to wonder.
For sure we have.
We used to wonder about things.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that statement at all. Yes.
Or you used to have to remember something too, as you were saying,
Mhm.
Yeah.
convenience. I'm thinking if I'm cooking or baking and I want to know the equivalent of something, how many tablespoons are in this many cups or whatever it might be. It used to be that you had to learn that and store it away somewhere so that you could use it again. So I feel like even the ability to memorize or store that information that is useful in everyday life, I don't think I have to memorize that because it's just there.
I don't know any of my kids' phone numbers. I mean, I used to have phone numbers memorized. I mean, I know Jim's and my own. I don't know any of my kids' phone numbers.
Without saying it, can you recall your home phone number growing up in your mind
Yes.
and your best friends? Because I can.
Yes.
Mm, you can?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think
Mhm.
I
I could
could even
spout it
do
off to you
that.
right now. Yes.
I love that.
And I'm so mature and grew up half of my childhood in a small town that initially, if you were calling another person in that town, you just had to pick up the phone and dial the last four digits. You didn't have to put in anything else.
Ours was the last 7 digits. So you didn't have to put the area code in, but you did have to do the prefix. Wow, we are dating ourselves here,
I
ladies.
know.
Like fine wines, mature fine wines.
Yeah. Okay, Angela, that was a great point that, yeah, we have lost that ability to wonder. I agree with you on that. So, getting back to the original question, what do you genuinely love about technology?
Okay. I love that I always have my camera with me because back in the day, if you didn't have your camera, you weren't taking a picture. And now, if you see something, you can snap a picture anywhere and everywhere. So I love that that's always with me. I mean, it's supposed to make us feel safer, I guess. But the truth is, like, if I left home without my phone, everyone else has a phone. So all I have to do is flag someone down. I'm not sure if it makes me safer to have a phone with me. I don't know. I don't know how much I love about it.
Thank you for your honesty. I think that's totally valid. The thing I thought of that I genuinely love about technology is when used the right way, it can foster connection. The fact that the three of us are as close as we are is due to technology.
Very true.
And more so than even being able to pick up the phone and talk to each other. We get to see each other's faces every day in the Marco Polo app, see each other's faces and hear the tone of voice. I get to FaceTime my daughter who lives 3 hours away anytime we want to. Like, it's not the same as being in the same room together, but it is like the next best thing because you actually feel like you're hanging out with that person. I think even something like email, while I love the sentiment of a handwritten card, that's just a treasure anytime you get a handwritten card in the mail because it doesn't happen very much anymore. But email is an instant way to send a message to someone or to get an answer, to communicate. So when used the right way, that is what I love about technology, is that it can foster connection with people that you, for whatever reason, don't live next to or can't see in person. Okay, so what is our biggest struggle with technology? Lisa, the opposite of what you said was when it doesn't work. And I'm wondering if that is maybe the camp that we are all in, because I could definitely camp out there. The struggle with technology is when it doesn't work, I'm like, who can I call? Who can fix this for me? Like this morning, even I can just be honest and say our podcast, it didn't launch on one of the platforms this morning. And Lisa let me know, and I looked into it, and I'm like thinking to myself, well, let's call tech support, call our virtual assistant. Oh, we don't have a virtual assistant or tech support.
I did.
Turns out,
I texted her.
yeah, turns out that was me. I was like, oh, I am tech support. Well, let's try and figure this out, right? What are some other ways that we struggle with technology?
I have actually, during this season of Lent, I look at it a little differently than some people who might say during the season of Lent, I'm going to give up chocolate or I'm going to give up my glass of wine every night or something like that. My connection with Lent for myself is actually how can I embrace something that will serve me in a better way? And that may mean giving something up or walking away from something. And so, as we talk about technology, I gave up, I put down social media and picked up my peace. So, I think that technology, especially in the form of socials, can really hinder that imposter syndrome. I call it compare and despair, or in my case, being analytical, like analysis paralysis. Like I'm watching other people, and then I just found myself just comparing, like doing a lot more comparison than I felt comfortable doing. Like as soon as I noticed it, who knows how long I was doing it before I even noticed it. As soon as I noticed it, I was like, ooh, no, this is not serving me. Put this on the back burner for a little while and take a little break from it. I mean, there's lots of other reasons why I chose to put social media on the back burner for a little while, but definitely in that kind of way when you were mentioning like the early days of uh, oh, actually, that wasn't even on this podcast. You were mentioning that in the Marcos or in another conversation. See how it goes here in the lounge? But how you can compare yourself to others. And even back before technology, that was happening, but not in a instant gratification way. You know, you had to wait, as Angela was saying, like losing your sense of wonder. Like if a celebrity or something, you were wondering, like, did they get engaged or did they have their baby? Like, you had to wait for the next, I don't know, magazine to come out or it to be announced in some publication. Like, you didn't have it instantly in your back pocket. But because we do now, I think it just lends to allowing that comparison to creep in a little bit. And it can be a stronghold.
Yeah, definitely. Has it been easy for you, the letting go of social media, or has it been challenging?
Honestly, it has not been as challenging as I thought it was going to be. I have had a few people reach out to me and ask me if I'm okay, which is nice because I am pretty active, especially in my stories on like Instagram and on Facebook. And even my daughter was, when I mentioned to her recently that I had done that, she's like, "Oh, that's why I don't see you popping up all the time. I miss your reels, Mama." I'm like, "Well, maybe I'll bring them back, but for now, taking a little hiatus. You should do the same." No, no, no.
Mm.
In due time, I'm sure they could put their socials down. But no, it's been actually easier than I thought. I have, much like Angela's spending fast, where she kind of put in her own rules. I did notice that I have created a few rules. So if someone texted me and then said, "Okay, I sent you a Facebook message," instead of explaining to them, "I'm not on Facebook right now because of blah, blah, blah," I just will say, "Okay, thank you." And then I will just go. But that is an exercise in discipline. So that has actually been not a bad thing to be like, okay, I'm going to go look at this. Like someone just sent me recently, there's these cute little puppies at the Humane Society. You should check them out. I sent it to you on Messenger. I'm like, okay. So, of course, I'm going to go into Facebook Messenger and look at those cute little puppies. So, I have put in my own boundaries, but
You have to make it realistic. And
yeah.
they don't like I've noticed too. So Facebook was one of the apps that I offloaded in order to get this phone update to go through. And so then I wasn't able, like, none of the notifications were showing up because it looked like I still needed to download the app from the cloud again, right? So none of like the little bubble with the number of notifications wasn't on there. But then it's Facebook still sent me an email. You have notifications. Angela Ploon commented on something. Andrew Kolars commented on something. Like, hey, you're missing out. You're missing out. And then I actually, once I went to it, it was like Andrew had made a comment on something like 5 days ago, and Facebook thought it was important enough to send me an email. So the grip they have, even on like speaking to that little voice that might be already in your head saying you're missing out, you're missing out, they're like, no, you really are missing out. So the discipline, like you said, is a real thing for sure. Angela, how about you? Where would you say technology brings on struggle?
Well, out of the three of us, y'all know I am the least techie. And so the struggle is real. I do not like, I don't, my thought about technology is I don't know how, and then immediately followed by I don't want to. I don't want to know how. So yeah, just if I could just like wave magic wands and have everything, like when I hired someone to help me with my website and I said, just do the thing where someone clicks a button and it goes somewhere and it shows them certain things, and she's like, yeah. Like just do all that stuff. So yeah, for sure. I don't want to know, and that's okay. I But it does bring up frustration when I'm trying to do something, like when we did a whole episode about this, but when we first started the podcast, just learning the new software it took just to do the recording. Oh my word.
We persevered. We persevered, and here we are.
Yeah, but I'm not saying I'm not grateful for it. And, when I do want to look something up or do something, I want it right now. Give me all the fast Wi-Fi speed that you can. If I have to watch that little thing spin around, you know.
Makes perfect sense.
I get frustrated with technology. Yeah.
I love that you know your limits, though, and that you're not afraid to ask for help, like even hiring a virtual assistant. Knowing that it's something that you maybe don't know how to do and realizing I don't want to. What's the next step? Getting somebody who can. I think that's totally valid.
Thank you.
I would say for me, the struggle with technology is how it can be so distracting and a big time waster. If I am not purposeful about how I'm using the tools, they can easily take up a whole lot of my time and my energy that in hindsight, usually I could have spent doing something else. And I don't really spend a lot of time on my technology devices, but even like the time that it takes to clean up your inbox, those of us that clean up our inboxes. um,
If you know, you
Not
know.
throwing shade at you at all, Angela. But even to keep on top of emails, like, okay, can I just unsubscribe from a bunch of these? Is this necessary? This is taking time to even just hit delete every time. So I would say the biggest struggle for me is how much time it actually takes from me without me realizing it. Not to mention the time it takes to learn the new thing or the new device. Okay, so aside from the Marco Polo app, which we all love, what is your favorite app or the app that you use the most and why?
I'm a digital calendar girl, so my calendar probably is
Mm,
for productivity, it's probably my calendar app.
yeah, same for me. And that's why that's another reason I like to take my phone with me. So if I'm going, say, to the dentist and they're like, would you like to make your next appointment? I can pull up my phone, put
Right.
it in there right away versus taking the little card home with me, hoping to not lose it,
Mhm.
forgetting to put it into the app later. But yeah, the Google Calendar is the app that I use.
Yeah. Same. I That is very convenient when I remember to look at it. I love the Notes app.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes, Jim and I have a lot of shared notes, our grocery lists and we call them honeydew lists. I add to it, he checks it off. But yeah, we use notes. I use notes for all kinds of things. If
Yeah.
I'm out for a walk and I'm listening to a podcast and something, just lands for me, I'll grab my phone and take a note in the notes app. I have a whole note full of things that I loved from, just from, I call it walking notes. So yeah, notes app, I love it. My kids share their Christmas lists with a
Yep,
shared
mine
note.
too. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite like fun app on your phone that's not a productivity app and not the Marcos, but
Yes, I do. We do a Scrabble game. It's called Words by Post. It was popular quite a few years ago. So at any given time, I have a game going with Andrew, my husband, I have one going with my mom, and then I have one going with Kylie, my daughter. Yeah, it's a really fun, free app. And the part that Andrew loves that I really don't care about is you can see your stats against a person and know just how many wins you've had and just how many losses they've
Competitive,
had.
maybe?
You're speaking Angela's language now. Oh, it keeps track for me? Okay.
It keeps track. You can chat with each other in there, like, oh, that was a good move, or, whatever. You can play random people on there as well. But if you have someone that you know in real life and you just get their username, you can play that game with them. And I like it that it doesn't time out. Like, there'll be days, weeks where I'll go a few days actually without even checking it. And Andrew will be like, I made a move against you in Scrabble. I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't even notice it. But when I do have time, I do like the fact that we have those ongoing games with each other.
Yeah, I don't really play games on my phone. As far as entertainment, I probably use Instagram the most. But I recently told a friend that I wanted to learn how to play cribbage. And I said, do you know how to play cribbage? And she said, yes, I play every day on my phone. And so she told me about this cribbage app, and she said you can set it like you can do the beginner level, which is really, you're just learning how to play. So I do plan to try that. This has been a while now that she has told me that, and I haven't installed the app, but I do have a
That's so
plan to
fun.
learn to play cribbage.
I love that. Lisa, how about you? Do you have a just for fun app?
So I have Wordle and the New York Times version of Scrabble, which is like crosswords or I forget what it's called, that Brian and I do, kind of like what you were just describing, Emily. And then another app that I really enjoy every day is my insight timer. So that's like a meditation app, but I can use it for like even when I go to the acupuncturist and I'm going to be, laying on the table for 45 minutes, she'll have like her own sound machine in the room. But sometimes I want to listen to something else. So I'll play like instrumental piano, meditation music, or worship music or something that I want to listen to. So I do love that because I do love my guided meditations. And I love that I can, now that I've learned to meditate in a way that is not one size fits all, like it's so perfect because you can choose a guided meditation that's literally 60 seconds, or you can choose one that's however many minutes you want to hit the pause button for. So I do like that app.
Love that. Any other apps that you would suggest before we move on?
Spotify, I use every day. Apple Podcasts, of course, listen to the Life Coach Lounge every day,
Yep.
every week.
I'm feeling like I need to go through my apps and delete a bunch of apps.
Yeah,
When
I'm telling
it,
you, like, do the
yeah,
software update, and then
yeah.
you'll be forced to be like, which ones do I not use? Which ones are taking up all of this memory?
Waze, do you guys use Waze?
Yes, when I'm traveling someplace and need direction,
Yeah,
yes, I will
Waze is a
use
good
some
one.
navigational system.
Pinterest, I use YouTube. I use YouTube almost daily. Oh my gosh, we haven't even talked about Amazon. How many times do you click on the Amazon app? Okay, I need to close my phone. I'm telling on myself now.
Yeah, we use Apple Music. We have a subscription to Apple Music, and I love how you can create playlists in there. So I do use that a lot. And then the other app I thought of that I use every night is the white noise app. And it has all kinds of different white noise sounds, or even other sounds that are just very tranquil. So I think right now we have one that's called Waterfall. So that's just the one that we use
Yep.
every night. Okay, so what about boundaries and balance? We've already decided technology is a tool, but we get to decide how we want to use it. And I think if we don't, purposefully think about how we want to use our technology, it will end up kind of using us. It will waste our time. It will throw information at us that maybe isn't helpful or useful. It will actually cause us, I think, to be more disconnected because if all we're ever doing is engaging with technology, then we're not engaging with the real people in our lives, right? So it can be a distraction. So, what are some boundaries that you have maybe put in place for yourself? What comes up for you guys when I talk about boundaries or balance?
I started several years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, a boundary where, I mean, I charge my phone on my nightstand at night, but I just decided I'm not going to open my phone until I am up. I don't wake up in the morning and look at my phone while I'm still in bed. And that was so freeing. I would used to, pick up my phone and then kind of drift back to sleep and then, oh, I'm awake and then look at something else and then drift back to sleep. And really it was just an excuse to stay in bed. But now I'll actually get quite a bit done before I even turn my phone on in the morning. And I really like that. That was a good boundary for me.
I've done something similar where I don't go and unplug it even to take it into the other room with me. If I go out to the kitchen and I spend more quiet time just praying, using my red light therapy, getting the coffee started, having that quiet time, that undistracted time without the temptation to go and see if there's notifications. Yeah, just leaving it in the bedroom plugged in has been huge for me too. It's a good, better way to start my day than looking at the screen right away.
For me, putting the notifications that I talked about earlier, taking like toggling those off on most of my apps so that your phone isn't lighting up all the time with all the things that it thinks, well, it doesn't think. You said it's important, so it's going to tell you it's important. And then I have also become very good at putting do not disturb on, which kind of annoys my family because they're like, well, if you're not busy, why do you have that on? But there are times when I will purposely leave it on because if I'm intent on doing like business work or something like that, I don't want the distraction. So, and I'm an Apple user. So if I put my do not disturb on my phone, then it's also on my laptop, which I'm using, and I'm not getting constant interruptions. But I've taken it a step further, and sometimes I'll be like, and I think I'm going to leave that on for another hour
Have you
or
guys
so.
ever utilized the like time restrictions in the iPhone where you can say only allow me like 1 hour a day of Instagram and it will like cut you off, or only allow me to use my phone until like 8 p.m. and then it'll cut you off. I've never done that, but I've heard people utilize that
Hmm.
and kind of train themselves to consume less content. So
Recognizing your screen time, your average screen time for a week,
it's scary, isn't it?
it's an eye opener. Like it definitely has been an eye opener for me, just not picking my phone up as often because I'm not going to open Facebook or social media of any kind. Getting a lot of time back in my life that would be lost to an algorithm rabbit hole.
So interesting, isn't it? When it gives
Hmm.
you the actual factual data.
Yeah. Yep.
How about phones or screens during meal times? So, sitting down with your loved ones, or even just having a meal by yourself. Do you put any boundaries in place with that? I try and just sit and enjoy the meal. I try and discipline myself to not have to have something there to also distract me or entertain me while I'm sitting and eating. And that has been good for me to even be more mindful about, am I full? Or do I just keep eating? Because I feel like if you're watching something, for me, and what if I was watching something or even checking messages as I'm eating, before I know it, I'm like, oh, I guess I'm done. Like, you don't even maybe sometimes think about the quantity you're eating. It just becomes like my brain can't maybe do both things purposefully at the same time. So, do you have any boundaries when it comes to meal times?
Could get better in this area.
First of all, if we're lucky as a family to actually have a mealtime together, which is rare, I think because all of us recognize that we're actually sitting down at a table and eating together, I really don't have to say, put your phones away. That's not usually a problem. What you just said, Emily, though, like if I'm by myself, which is often, yeah, no, I probably have my phone with me. I'm likely listening to something because I'm not a big television watcher. So I'm likely listening to a podcast or an audiobook or something like that if I was sitting having a meal. But I love your little, you didn't even challenge me, but I'm challenging myself. Like, how would that feel to just sit down and enjoy your meal?
Yeah, no judgment, and
Yeah.
definitely only a challenge if you want to take it. It's just been
Yeah.
something I have found to be very beneficial. And then, none of us have young kids at home anymore. I feel like when we were younger and the phones were a thing, it was definitely, leave your phone over there. We're sitting down to have family dinner. But there's value in that, even like if it's just Andrew and me. I want to see his face. I want to have a conversation with him. I want to know, how was your day? Not having to compete with the phone, or him having to compete with my nose being in the phone, or having my earbuds in and listening to something. Again, I don't want it to ever be disconnecting to have that technology. So just something to think about. So I feel like we need to do a part two, because I haven't even touched on how technology reduces our ability to wonder, our natural inclination to wonder, which then also I think hinders our creativity. And then that leads me to question AI and how much that might be hindering our creativity. So I think we need to do a part two on this episode to continue the conversation about technology. Are you guys up for that?
I'm up for that. I have a lot to say about all the things you just said.
Awesome. So, we do want to thank everyone for joining us today for part one of technology chatter. Ooh, this would be a great reflection question that we don't necessarily need to answer, but it might be good for us to just reflect upon in our own time. If your phone could talk, what would it say about you? And if technology disappeared tomorrow, what would we rediscover about ourselves, about our people, about the world around us? That could be really fun to brainstorm. So, one final thought to leave with our listeners for today is just remember, technology is a tool. It is neutral. You get to decide how you want to use it and how you want to think about it. So we hope this has been an encouragement to you, and we can't wait to see you back here in the lounge next time. And Lisa and Angela, I will definitely be seeing you later today and this week in our favorite app of all time, the Marco Polos.